Good morning, DX fam. This is your boy, D Exclusive with DXWorldMedia.com, where dreams choose you. We are in a great moment. We are here on MadPod episode 5. Let's get right into it. I've got a few important things to say to you all. It's been 5 episodes, and I think it's time to move on. I appreciate your interest in my channel, but I don't feel a romantic connection between us. I value our friendship and don't want to risk damaging it by pursuing a romantic relationship. I'm at a point in my life where I need to focus on myself and my own personal growth. I don't think starting a romantic relationship is the right decision for me right now. I've enjoyed getting to know all of you, but I don't see us moving forward romantically. I think it's best for both of us to part ways and find someone who is much better. I'm flattered by your interest, but I don't think we're compatible in the long term. I believe it's best to be honest with ourselves and acknowledge that pursuing a romantic relationship wouldn't be fair to either of us. So this is my last video. Au revoir. Hasta luego. And hasta la vista, baby. Bye. Woo! So that's ChatGPT. Very precise and generic and straight to the point and honest on how to reject someone. That's right, baby. We're going to talk about rejection today. I don't know why I'm so positive about the idea of talking about rejection. Well, actually, I do. So rejection, in my experience, is basically the possible beginning of the end. It happens in initial invites to date someone. It happens in long-term 4-year relationships. It happens in 25-year-long relationships. As more time is spent in the relationship, it kind of boils down to a possible initial rejection that one or two, both parties, don't admit to or accept, and they don't fix together and make the relationship a we instead of a you and I. And then eventually one or both parties does something behaviorally, like cheat, drug addiction, overeat, gain weight, just do things that are self-destructive for their own health, well-being, career choices, or whatnot. And that's why we're making this a really safe place for all of us to start talking and to open our eyes to the ideas of intimacy and relationships. So today, let's get into rejection. Let's really ask GPT some serious questions. In my experience of working ChatGPT, I've learned how to ask it a more critical thinking kind of way. So what I told you a few minutes ago, the 5 ways to reject someone, is what I had to say in ChatGPT. I said, write 5 statements of rejection a person can use to reject a romantic relationship. Just a recap. 1 is, I appreciate your interest, but I don't see a feeling. That one usually is like if you're a coworker or if you've known someone like working at a grocery store and you keep saying hi to them, you might say, "Hey, I might be interested in hanging out with you outside of work." They'll be like, "Oh, I appreciate your interest, but no, I don't see us romantically or friendship involved." Also, if you're already friends with someone and you ask them out on a date, you might get this one. I value our friendship and I don't want to risk damaging it by pursuing a romantic relationship. And that's just someone's way of putting boundaries, friend zoning you. And if you're the one asking someone out, you have multiple, I mean, you basically have two ways of going about it. One, respect their boundaries, acknowledge their feelings, and say, I just wanted to let you know that I've grown romantic or I've grown attracted to you in romantic ways. I feel like I'm attracted to the idea of being more physical or exploring a romantic relationship. But the hard thing is we can't in the outside world, we're not really safe to say those things. That's why I want to create this virtual world where we could say it to one content creator to consumer, because you guys got to hear these words and practice them with us and with yourself in the mirror or just by practicing with close friends to setting new boundaries. Most people like to ignore red flags or ignore circumstances that are not really affecting them and kind of like sidestep it, but that's very unhealthy for yourself, your own self-worth, and then also it's not healthy for your long-term relationship or friendship with that person. So in the example of a friendship, a friend asking you out on a date, like if you don't address it and set a strong boundary, women, I'm talking to you, and men, sometimes a woman will approach, but that's very few in between because the tradition of society and especially American United States culture is that the man is supposed to ask her out. Women are supposed to be subtle and more like like prey, just like, oh, take me, baby. Oh, yeah. Oh, I push your button. Yeah. It just gets annoying if there's not honest and direct. Hey, look, and you gotta take that moment. I really want to talk to you about something important. Can I talk to you? Schedule a time, or if it's a good time, just get right into it. I'm getting a little nervous right now. I have these ideas and feelings that I like to talk to you about, but I don't know how to. You could just do it like that. Or you could be, if you've already addressed and talked to yourself about how to say the feelings, you just come right out, so and so. I guess the way I would probably want to start doing it is like, so and so, tell me, where do you see our friendship going? Do you think we're doing enough hanging out? Do you see us um, have you noticed either one of us be like, put it on we, like put it on like, have you seen us? You know, and then it takes you and I out of the equation, and it allows you to dissect and allows the other person a safe place to talk about us instead of putting all the evidence. Oh my god! Oh my god! Are you? Would you be like wanting to hang out and like make out sometime? Like it puts it too much on the other person. If you already know you want a romantic relationship, I really think it would be better if you already start using the plural pronouns, us and we, and allow them to grow and practice this new language that you're trying to bring to the friendship. And just say, tell me more about how you see us. I've noticed we hang out a lot more, we go to the gym a lot, and we share really good meals together. Basically, have you caught any feelings beyond friendship? I mean, you could put it like that. It's kind of like a we indirectness, but directness at the same time. And hopefully it works out. Now, that's what we're going to get to in a minute, is how to deal with rejection, the healthy and unhealthy ways of dealing with that. Oh, you're not really interested in doing that. But I mean, if you think about it, we've all dealt with rejection on smaller levels. Like you have a friend, right? And you're like, hey, so and so, I'm going to go see that new movie, Dune 2. Would you like to go with me? That's a risk. You're putting yourself out there. You might get rejected as a friend. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I already saw it with so and so. Or, oh, no, I I don't like sci-fi. You might get rejected right there, and those small rejections are building blocks to practice healthy ways of dealing with rejection. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Now let's get back to chat. After looking up the 5 statements on how to reject someone, I wanted to get a feel for the word rejection. What is rejection? Basically, I asked ChatGPT in 3 bullet points, and this is what you got to do. You got to tell ChatGPT in specific formatting in your question. In 3 bullet points, define rejection when it is about romantic relationships. According to ChatGPT, in 3 bullet points, the first one is refusal or dismissal of romantic advances, gestures, or proposals. So the rejection is the refusal or dismissal of a romantic advance. It also can occur in various forms, including verbal rejection, lack of reciprocation. For example, you might suggest something and they don't really respond verbally, they just kind of shrug it off. Or withdrawal in interest. Like, for example, you've been friends for a while, then you hit them with the romantic, and then they start wanting to hang out as friends. That happens too. And then can have emotional implications for both parties involved. So with rejection, and even the opposite of commitment, like accepting a request for romance in a relationship, they will have emotional implications. Now, they're not necessarily positive or negative, they're just emotions, they're just implications. With rejection, though, it leads to feelings of disappointment, hurt, or loss. You think you're going the right way with someone if you're dating for 4 years, and then you haven't learned in 4 years how to communicate the things you want from the relationship or not, and maybe your language is not up to par. Even though we talk about regular stuff, the emotional and that's why it's so important. Remember in episode 2 when I'm talking about intimacy, you got to understand your own intimacy, your own boundaries, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. You got to know them all so you can have that language and participate in a communication with your partner, And that's what we got to work on. All right, people? We got to work on that communication with ourselves so we can have better talks with our partners. Now that we know the real definition of rejection in a romantic relationship, I asked ChatGPT in 3 bullet points, describe the negative ways a person can deal with rejection to a romantic relationship. 1, dwelling on self-doubt, low self-esteem, internalizing the rejection as a rejection of personal inadequacy. 2, engaging in self-destructive behaviors such as substance abuse or reckless actions to numb the pain or seek validation. Ooh, that's a good one. I have noticed that in my past about rejection. I really want to seek validation when I'm rejected because I feel I'm a certain way and I want to be validated by the person I care about or want to receive it from. And when they don't give it to me, I'm like, where do I get it from? Do I get it from a video game? Do I get it from my own self behaviors of reminding myself of how worthy I am of their affection, even though they may not think they deserve my affection? Which is the other thing I really want to touch on is I feel a lot of people haven't done the work in getting to know themselves on their own intimacy levels, and that's the main reason for my book, Morning After Delight. Morningafterdelight.com, by the way, is where you can pick that up for 12 recipes to be more intimate with your partner. Deserving. I don't think any gender really has gone to the levels of self building. It's almost like world building in like a video game where you're building different parts. You got to build your emotional, physical, mental, spiritual selves to be more resilient to be accepting of other, or understanding and read and hear other people's, or comprehend other people's um, communication, verbal and nonverbal, to be able to be the leader in the conversation, or even to follow, because you got to lead and follow when you're in a partnership with someone. You got to learn when to refrain, be quiet, and listen. And other times where you got to speak up and point out, look, I've noticed this about you, and actually it's more about us. I've noticed this about us, and I really think we could do better. Tell me how you feel about it. And then after they say theirs, okay, this is how I feel about it. And then since you're the leader and you brought this up, this is how I would want to try to solve it. Tell me, how would you solve it? Now, if they just agree with you right away, that's a red flag. Every person in a romantic or a friendship or anything needs to have their own voice in the package. If they're totally submissive, that could lead to a dangerous road as well. It could be leading towards where they just submissive for a certain amount of time, and all of a sudden they wake up and be less submissive and not, and bring their voice to the table. And then if you're not ready for their voice after being submissive, having them submissive for so long, you might just push away or get pushed away emotionally or mentally, and then you guys don't work on it together, and then it all falls apart. Things happen, infidelity, other babies from other mamas and daddies, things can go crazy. So the communication got to be there, baby. You got to get it. The last bullet point on dealing with rejection in a negative way is holding on to resentment or bitterness towards the rejecting party, leading to difficulty in moving on and forming healthy relationships in the future. That's very important, because, like, say you're having a great relationship with someone and then you ask them out, they reject you, but you're upset for them rejecting you. Like, it goes right back to what I was just saying. You have to understand yourself well enough to shield yourself from rejection, or use that shield to not deflect, but to absorb and comprehend. Now, not all the time you're going to find a meaningful reason for the rejection. Because say you're friends for 6 months and you really are hitting it off and you feel romantic at the end or during or wherever you are, and then you ask them out and then it all falls and they just reject you. You've been listening and being very good as a possible partner, and then they reject you even though you checked off all the things that they've talked about, hey, what are you looking for in a person? Like, what's so-and-so, like, you see them date a few people and you're like, yeah, they're not, they didn't work out, because you know that you're probably better for them. But most people don't really even know what they want or need, and they confuse need and wants. Almost like the Dark Knight. Batman at the end of that movie has to become the hero that Gotham needs, but yet become the hero that Gotham does not want. And not to be over dramatic, but I'm just trying to use this as an analogy that sometimes we basically got to use that as an example to really understand our desire. What do we want and need from our relationships? And accept what we've accepted. And we don't have to accept every partner that comes along. But you owe it to yourself and your partner to really give it a real shot at communicating all your desires and wants. And the problem is we're very undisciplined and unresilient. We usually just like, oh, there's so many people out there. You meet this much amount of what I want, but you don't have that. I'm out of here. If you don't try to understand what is making them not really agree with it, if it's just a core value, you probably will need to move on, because you're not going to change that person. For example, if you're a type of person that likes to entertain and likes to grab attention, and you might be over the top and a little bit too much sometimes, but you make a good and you make it fun for everybody. But then your partner is very, oh, I don't want to be seen. Please quiet down at the party, please. We're not trying to have fun like that. That's a core value that just it doesn't match. Now, if it could complement where the other one's okay and not jealous of you getting all the attention and enjoy seeing you happy, and then they're happy for being behind the scenes helping out with either in the kitchen or whatever they're enjoying about the party, they could still work. But it has to be an open conversation, and one or both parties need to bring it up and talk about it. Hey, I noticed that you're quiet at the party. I know we're still getting to know each other, so what is that about? Like, are you? And I noticed that I'm so different. So tell me how you feel about me being a little bit more outgoing and stuff. And then you just have conversations after conversations after conversations. It's almost like parenting. You gotta like just keep talking about the same stuff over and over again until you both agree on a process or a system that works for both of you. And you got to make sure your systems are complementary or in agreeing, or they just work for both of you. Because if one partner is not getting the fulfillment or needs met, and they're just meeting everyone else's needs and fulfillment, it's not going to work. But I just want to remind you that it's okay to have opposite needs and affection and whatnot in different systems. So now, what about the healthy? What's a healthy way to reject someone? I asked ChatGPT. In 3 bullet points, describe healthy ways to reject, to deal with romantic. Oh, actually, this is how to deal with the rejection. First, you got to acknowledge and process the emotions. Allow yourself to feel and express the range of emotions that come with rejection, such as sadness, disappointment, or frustration. Validate your feelings and give yourself permission to experience them without judgment. So don't judge yourself right off the bat if you got rejected from asking someone out, or if you've been rejected after 4 years in a relationship or 25 years in a relationship. Try to just give your space to not think for a little bit. Empty your mind. Go on a motorcycle ride. Get a massage. Do something physical, because the physical relaxation will allow your mental and emotional spaces to kind of take a break, because you get hit hard emotionally and mentally. So you don't want to absorb that hit and then let your physical health go or get too distracted. And you got to give your mental and emotional health a rest. So do something physical is what I would say, or be grateful for what you do have. And you don't dwell on the what ifs at that moment. You're just trying to like almost movies are a great way to really understand your feelings. We use it as entertainment, but film can really provoke or ignite the fire within you and your spirit and unite, and it unites us all. We get to talk about movies in a special way to connect. So Inside Out by Disney, the feelings of sadness was the whole movie was about sadness. Don't touch this, don't do that, don't touch the core memory, don't make it sad. Keep it happy. Happy memories can turn to sadness if you get rejected or if you move on. Like if you're a kid and you move from another school, you're going to be sad. Most adults try to say, don't feel sad, don't feel bad about yourself. But there's a healthy way to just accept that you're sad for the moment. And like accept in the meaning that you're okay with being sad. And remind yourself that it's temporary. Like the heaviness is temporary. You're going to always be sad about that moment, but that sadness creates very strong meaning for that moment or that relationship. Like finishing off with that, like if you move from middle school, and you lose friendships, the time spent with those friendships and the time and efforts that you make after you move away will create meaning down the road in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. Like if you're able to succeed after 20, 30 years and still be friends with that person, even though you moved away, that moving away sadness created the opportunity to create a stronger relationship throughout the years. Hypothetically, you could have stayed with that same school, been friends with them for another year, went to different high schools, and just disappeared. There was no sadness, there was no happiness. It was just that one brief moment. It was almost like an NPC. You interacted with them, and they're gone. They're not even a strong relationship. But they would have missed out on all the weddings, birthdays, and everything from your like adulthood. Is what I'm trying to say. So that's another flip of the coin too. Be careful out there, everybody. Create boundaries that resemble rejection. For example, like if you have someone ask you out on a date, that's an opportunity for you to tell them what you really feel about them. Don't run away from that. If you felt the same way, just say it, but have a strong boundary and go back to the ChatGPT kind of cookie cutter, like simple, unemotional phrase. Like this. I'll give you an example. I'll act it out for you. Wow. You know, I have to tell you something. I did feel a romantic connection with you. However, in my I've been afraid to say it too and really get to know you like that. And here's why. I really think that at this point in my life, I'm not really ready for a romantic relationship. And then you have a bunch of excuses, or not excuses, but reasons why to help you get over a past relationship or whatnot. And then you would go, I would like to do this. So you basically say no, but then you have a solution. So when you reject someone, make sure you have a solution and don't leave it all for the rejected partner. I mean, if you really think the person is creepy or weird for liking you, I think that shows more on you that something's wrong with the person rejecting. Because if you're already like kind of talking and you're dating or even just talking, in acquaintanceship, and someone brings up and has the confidence and bravery to share that they kind of feel for you, they want to see you outside of the area that they met you at, grocery stores, work, or whatnot. Like, this is a great opportunity to get to know them better. Like, how are you going to really know someone until you go through something with them? I'm not saying sleep around. I'm not even saying that. We haven't even talked about sex. It's not even about sex. The person asked you out to hang out outside of the area, but you just shut them out and never talk to them again. And don't say anything kind of meaningful or expressive. You just like shut them out. How is that helping you become more open to the person that you will fall in love with? Is what I'm saying. We got to work with each other to develop relationships as we go along in life. We can't just like hide and wait for this super ideal person to show up and be ready for them if we haven't created healthy boundaries with our friends and family, healthy boundaries with possible romantic partners in dating. If we haven't done all that work, it's almost like getting a Ryan Gosling body for men or Margot Robbie body, like from the Barbie movie, those types of bodies. And you spent like 10 years of your adult life rejecting everybody and all the opportunities to work out, and you get the body immediately within one instant. The ideal body's here, and you accept it as a download, like from the metaverse, and you're supposed to know how to even use that new body or appreciate that new body. You're not going to appreciate shit if you don't fucking put the work in. And you got to get angry and passionate or focused, like the way I'm feeling right now. Like, wake yourself up. You deserve everything you desire. Work for it. Create the discipline, the mental discipline to get yourself at 5:30 in the morning and go to the gym if you want that fucking Barbie body. Don't just wake up and buy it. It's not a fucking video game. You can't just buy a skin from you know what and then, oh, I'm awesome now. Just my shoulders off. Real life is not like that, guys. Let's learn how to be more intimate with ourselves. Learn how to talk to one another. And learn how to be the one word ChatGPT told me before I started recording. I asked ChatGPT, what is in one word? Here, let me read it for you. I said, in one word, how can a person deal with rejection of a long-term relationship? And the one word is resilience. I don't think that word's used that often. So this ask ChatGPT, what is resilience when referring to a person's relationship? Are you awake? Are you listening now? You ready for this? Resilience in the context of a person's relationship refers to their ability to bounce back and adapt positively in the face of challenges, setbacks, and adversities within the relationship. It involves maintaining a sense of strength, flexibility, and emotional stability while navigating through difficult times such as conflicts, disagreements, or the ending of a relationship. Resilience allows individuals to cope effectively with stressors, maintain a sense of optimism, hope, and work towards rebuilding or moving forward in their relationships with resilience and determination. Thank you, ChatGPT. Out of all the years of everything, living life, I bet you've heard a version of that. It's come across you in a story in elementary. It came across through experiences in life. But I hope this platform allowed me to share it with you in a more meaningful and eye-opening way. And that's what Morning After Delight's all about. And that's what my coaching company, DX World Media, is all about. It's all about finding the language, the discipline, the ability to become internally and externally happy with your life. If you want a more personal help, please reach out to me. I'm DX World Media on most platforms. You can buy my book, morningafterdelight.com, for $9.99, direct to reader, digital copy, baby. Only $9.99. And let's make this day the happiest day of your life. And remember, like Jocko Wilkinson, or whatever his name is, sorry about your name, every day is day one, and like everything you've done before is still there, but it's like a shadow of what you've done. And you got to repeat all the success you did yesterday, today. Doesn't matter how many miles you ran yesterday, or how many weights you lifted, or how many great relationships you've maintained over yesterday. Today, you got to do it all over again. And that's fun because you get to create new interactions, and that's why you got to be grateful and curious at the same time. This has been your boy, DX Exclusive! With DXWorldMedia.com, where dreams choose who? You!